Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back. Another episode of the Imperfect Action Show where we connect with six, seven, eight-figure earners. And we figure out what are some of the imperfect action steps they took to become successful. And on this episode, I have an amazing individual who's going to bring a lot of energy. I already know, right? We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff, including her journey. She's a communication strategist. Reagan, welcome to the podcast.
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely excited to have you here. Um, so when we talk about communication strategy, what is that
Yeah.
specific?
So I think it's important for us as entrepreneurs, right, to be multifaceted. So
Mm,
when we're talking communications, yeah, I could say I do publicity, right? I get people on radio, television, but I think when we're talking all encompassing communication strategy, so that's knowing a little bit about even what you do, right?
mm,
Knowing a little bit about social media. I might not do those things as far as execution is concerned, but having a big picture or goal for my clients.
yeah,
So
and I like
communication
that.
strategy.
And I think that's one thing that I know that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of they don't think about immediately.
Mhm.
Like they'll spend time on a website, they'll spend time on a product, on a service, and then
Yep,
like, yo, where the people at? How come no one knows about what I got going on? Like
exactly.
they forget about that big piece of letting people know or
Mhm.
how to get in front of more people to so they know about what they actually have going on.
That's yeah, and then I think what people tend to forget is like people buy into who they know, who they like, and who they trust, right?
Yes.
So even with starting, the whole public relations conversation is what we're doing is we're creating a likability factor about you. So even with you in particular, right? Because I do my research too. I found out that you're from Boston. I've been trying
Okay.
to do my research and dig, right? What's important about
Yeah.
that though is now someone can relate to that, right?
Yep.
So someone who wants to do something similar to what you do, even if it's not so detailed, with someone buying into what they know, what they like, and what they trust, they can trust you because they're from the same city, so on and so forth. So I think it's just about being intentional with what you're putting out.
So what else you find?
I kind of difficult to
What else you
find
find?
information on. I was trying to find some information on you.
Okay, cool.
I ain't do too good, but we gonna
Okay.
get that.
Um, yeah, no, I started so I recently started sharing more of my story. So it's not even like it's a secret, but it's just something that I think I talked about a little bit, but I just didn't talk about, and I just been talking about it more, right? So I
Yep.
think I think story is great, right? When people
Hmm.
add in a little bit of how they got to where they are, uh,
Hmm.
what they may currently have,
Yep.
going on or experiencing, how that may have led up to what they're doing now, right? I think those are also great ways to, like you were saying earlier, right? That likability, that know, like, trust, that KLT.
Yep.
Because if I can establish that with someone, and I can establish that with someone fast, then it makes me feel more comfortable to want to engage, to
Hmm.
build a relationship, to exchange, my dollars for that product or that service, and that's why brand is so important. Brand is so powerful, right?
For sure.
I mean, you may not even know who the CEO or the founder of, they may not even necessarily be good people for sometimes,
Hmm.
but because the brand is so strong and so powerful in the positioning of said brand, we have that emotional connection to it. They were like, I know this is going on, but I really like these boots.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean?
Or let's even talk Jeff Bezos, right? Because I
Mm,
saw this floating around the internet. And maybe he doesn't do a ton of interviews as much anymore, but like there was an interview within like the past week or so that was floating around in the internet on the internet from like the 90s. So they were sitting in his car, they were sitting in his Honda.
mm,
They were driving around town and they were like, you make so much money, you're worth X amount of dollars. Why are you in this Honda?
mm.
So what was important there with Jeff Bezos is in the beginning, guess what he still did? He might not do it as much anymore, but he had to tell a story in the beginning because
Yeah.
no one knew who he was.
Mm,
So I think sometimes entrepreneurs we get into that bag of, oh, don't nobody gotta know me, don't nobody gotta do this. No, they do because
yeah.
you're still building,
Yeah.
regardless. Like even now, me. So when you reached out to me to say, hey, Ray, be on my podcast, yeah, I'm still building. Why not? Like I have to tell my story.
Yeah. Indeed. Why do you think story is so powerful? Do you think it's so powerful because of the relatability, or you think it's the learning factor? Because ever since we were younger, we were like taught things through story. Like, why? How do you think that's so important?
So I am such I'm a big whole fan, and he's a storyteller, right? Like he's such a storyteller, and I think about he has one song, and it's probably one of my favorite songs. There's a song called "My First Song," where
Mm,
he's talking about like treating your first like your last, and always like remembering why you started.
yeah,
So I think about stories being important because if someone can paint a vivid picture into who they are and what they do, they've already got you hooked, right? Like so that's why I think stories are important.
yeah. I I, I would agree because it's like this always happens to me so I'll find maybe like a brand or I'll find a product or something, and then I'll do my research, and maybe there's a biopic or maybe there's a movie, right? And then I'll
Mhm.
watch the movie, and then I'm like, man, I really like this now. Like I'm a fan of the
Mhm.
owner, I'm a fan of maybe their strategy,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of the product now a little bit more. And I think that does a lot emotionally to get you to the point where you want to, like I said, either engage or
Mhm.
make that purchase.
Yep.
You know what I
For
mean?
sure.
And it may happen, fast for some people, or it may take a couple of months. But the journey, if they get inside that ecosystem, they're bound to eventually end up where you want them to go.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because someone is going to buy into it, right? Like, I can even talk about like what I tend to share on social media, right? So, like, I'm a HBCU graduate. That's one element of me. Like, I'm a sorority girl, so that's
Mm,
another element. So, those are two already built-in audiences that are going to buy from me just off the strength of community.
yeah.
So, if I'm not sharing that, and I was talking to my business partner a second ago, I said I'm taking them pink and green hearts out my bio. No offense, Oris, but I'm taking them pink and green hearts out my bio. And she's like, no, you can't do that because someone is relating to you strictly off the strength of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So how did you get into public relations? What was your journey?
Man, I talk a lot. Like literally, literally. Always knew that it was something that I wanted to do. Maybe I just didn't know that's what it was called. Um, in college, I served as the vice president of external affairs for my student government. I got to plan all of our revenue generating events.
Mm,
So, homecoming, spring fling. I got to put artists on stage, got to sign big contracts, got to do PR in a sense. After that, I knew that that's something I wanted to do forever because
yeah.
what I was doing now. So, yeah.
And I think it's great to like be in that position where it's like you're seeing everything conceptually, but then you're
Mhm.
able to kind of middleman the transactions, and then you're seeing what happened on the other side. So I
Like,
know there's probably a lot of moments, and maybe still where it's like, you may get a client in a really good space, but then you could sit back and kind of like experience it, and then know that you were able to contribute to that actually happening.
it's literally no better feeling, especially when people are like, yeah, this is my first time on the radio or this is my first time on a newscast. It's definitely an amazing feeling. Like I knew when I started college that I didn't want to be on camera talent, reporting live from, I don't know, like I knew I didn't want to do that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, what else can I do where I'm gonna have to use my brain power to say, hey, I'm gonna have to make some stuff shake. I
Hmm.
don't know if I can curse, but yeah, I'm gonna have to make some stuff
Yeah,
shake.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So is there like a okay, let's say you're taking a client on,
Mhm.
and let's say after maybe a consultation call or something like that this client may be a good fit for opportunity you might have, like maybe local news or something that might
Mhm.
be coming up in a couple of days. So you're moving things a little bit fast, right, for this particular client.
Yeah.
What are some like some essentials that they need? Like picture, video, bio. Like what do you need to kind of even be in position to get in this space?
Yeah, and I also think that they need clarity around their why. I think
Mm,
it's very important to kind of come with that because no matter what, like we can't cultivate that story for you, right? So you certainly have to know why you got started, what makes you tick, who your target audience is, because then we can do those different exercises to make it make sense for the media. But that foundationally, it does start with you. So, like, yes, the pictures, yes, the bio. I can't even hop on the phone if you don't have those things because those things are important. And I think even down to the inquiry form that we have, I know within those first 10 minutes or within reading that form in the first 2 to 3 minutes if I want to work with you or not,
Mm,
just based on what's said.
man, so you be turning down people?
Maybe everything isn't, maybe everything isn't a good fit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I can
We
put you
give
in
you the PR answer.
just put you in the hot seat real quick.
Yeah.
So what are some I guess media outlets that were maybe coveted for you at one point? So then
Mhm.
maybe after establishing a relationship or maybe placing a client in that space, you felt really good about.
Yeah. So before I started my company, I spent some time in like the social justice space, so nonprofit, public relations, and did a little bit of entertainment too. So I had some relationships from navigating those waters. But on my own, nothing feels better than like those mainstream media hits, right? And I hate to classify those as well mainstream or this or this, but CNN was dope.
Mm,
I think things like The Hill and Politico and stuff like that, the Black Enterprises, things of that nature were kind of like good feelings to say like, hey, I did this on my own without a big machine behind me.
yeah, that makes sense. I think those are still like even now places that people want to sit and want to be.
Hmm.
Um, since things are so accessible for people right now, right? Do you still would someone still find it valuable, I should say, to
Hmm.
work with someone like yourself versus
So
like trying to like bootstrap everything on their own?
So can you bootstrap PR? Certainly. Like I talk to people where they're like, "Hey, well, I've gotten public relations for myself, right?" I think the value set that comes into public relations is the strategy piece of it, and I
Mm,
kind of keep honing in on that because sure, someone can get an interview for themselves one time. Sure, we can get you can get yourself on the Breakfast Club once or twice, but I think the beauty of hiring a publicist or a communications professional is the consistency piece in that and
mm,
then helping you craft the story element. I think it's a misconception when people reach out and they're like, "Hey, I just want some articles. Can you get me on some articles?" And I'm like, "Sure," but that's not impactful. Like, yeah, we can pick up the phone and call some people, but I'm not sure how impactful that'll be long term because that's just a one and done hit.
is there a like a repurpose strategy that kind of goes along with the communication strategy? For instance, let's say let's say if I was a client of yours, right? You
Hmm.
got me on, let's say, CNN and maybe a couple of articles right now, right?
Hmm.
And now they're public, right? They're out there, they're publicized, they're online and such. What do we do from there? Is this something that we can do to repurpose that content so it goes a little bit deeper?
I think so. I think well, one, you're already doing it right. Like you have your own content, so that's one thing that'll
Mm,
always be amazing. That'll never go away.
yeah.
I think also too creating shared content elements, creating owned earned content elements, so other channels for PR, and then paid elements. So
Mm,
again, I think there are some similarities between what you do and what I do as far as the marketing side of it. But I think what becomes important is yes, we might get that CNN hit, but then what does that story on a Black Enterprise look like? Because that
look
story
like
is
it.
going to look different. Or MTV just throwing randomly throwing stuff out, but like those stories are going to look different to different platforms. So I wouldn't give CNN the same story that I would give a BT.
Yeah.
I wouldn't give Black Enterprise the same story that I would give a BT. Because I would want to change the story up based on who you're talking to. So foundationally, things would be the same, but I want different sides of you to share.
Yeah, and that's actually pretty smart, right? Because like you said, you're not just taking the same article that
Yeah.
that we're pre putting together behind the scenes and it says, hey, post this, post this, post this, post this, and it's like the same thing on like 10 different platforms.
Have you ever seen for 97.99 you can get featured on Forbes? Like, have you
Yeah,
ever seen that before? Yeah, so the problem where that becomes watered down, and I'm totally not dissing anybody who does it. I am, but not really. But I think where that gets watered down is that's a backlink of a website.
yeah,
So yeah, you can Google it for a few times. It may show up 2 to 3 times, but it's eventually going to disappear. It's actually not supposed to happen, and it shows no real SEO like format or nothing like that.
So that's smart. So for those that are maybe watching in real time or maybe just checking out the replay, when you talk about the backlink of it, how do you break that down for those that may not understand what that is?
So usually they're advertorials or advertisements. So it's not like you actually got interviewed. It's not like the website actually put it up. Like they may,
Mm.
but the website technically didn't pull it up. So if for 97.99 you can get featured in Forbes, Forbes technically didn't post it. It's just some random website that's moonlighting as Forbes.
Oh, got you. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Out here moonlighting and grabbing cash.
Right, and just taking your money. Y'all better stop that.
So if you're looking to have an impactful communication strategy, how often, and let's say you're working with a client for like a year, how
hmm
often are stories going out? Are we putting stories out monthly? Is it a couple different stories going out monthly? Are we like, hey, we're hitting podcasts this quarter, we're hitting, stages this quarter, we're gonna be in the articles this quarter? Is it
Yeah,
like a mix of that?
we coming for everything. We coming
Mm.
for everything. We coming for blogs. We coming for podcasts. We coming for radio. We doing some in person stuff because I think in person press conferences and things like that are important because PR should be multi approach strategy. So yeah, those Zoom conversations are great, but like I want to get people in person talking to you. I want to make sure that we're doing mission driven events or pushing out like purposeful content, community focused content, so on and so forth. So I think there has to be a big picture, like robust strategy.
What about billboards, right? So
hmm
I think today's Monday, right? So Sunday, I happened to see a YouTube. I don't know if you follow this YouTuber. Her name is Cody Sanchez, but she covers like how to generate revenue from boring businesses, and sometimes she does like interviews with people that just found interesting ways to create cash flow. So she had these guys on, and they basically figured out how to sell available billboard space by the hour, because
hmm
technically they would you normally would do it by like days, weeks, months,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
um, so, and then the conversation was like, Billboard kind of brings that. It's a different look. It's like almost like a legitimacy,
hmm
even though it may, excuse me, be for like a short amount of time. It's like you got a billboard in Times Square. You got a billboard in, on Sunset Boulevard. You got a billboard, in your major city. When people see that and that's your brand, it brings a higher level of like look or perception to that. So, are you mixing billboards in the mix? Are billboards still effective?
So I think so because right, perception is reality. Like I
Yeah,
feel like we live in this age where if you don't see it, it doesn't exist, or like you're if someone else doesn't call you to go, then you're really not. So
yeah,
it's like I think there are some elements of those digital billboards, regular billboards, where you do want to put those things in because let's be for real, everyone not checking CNN, everyone isn't reading
yeah.
Good Morning America, everyone is not watching BET or whatever have you. But if you can get to multiple audiences in different ways, to me, it's like a why not factor. Like
Yeah.
if you have the money and it makes sense, why not? And then we start to then knock stuff off of the list of what works, what doesn't, so on and so forth.
Where have you seen that used to be really, really effective, but because of where we are now, it's not so much as effective.
Hmm. You know what I used to be able to do when I first started out? Like, I would be able to just pick up the phone and talk to people.
Mm.
That still happens as far as like new PR relationships or like having what they consider desk sides. So like desk sides used to be, and I'm not an old head, so I don't even know why I'm talking like this, but like
Yeah.
desk sides, you could just pick up the phone, you could say, hey, People Magazine, this is everything that I'm working on. I want to talk to an editor, and like that would just boom, you'd be able to do it. That don't happen no more. So
Nah.
now I gotta go on Twitter, I gotta find the editor, I gotta find a phone number. Yeah, that don't happen no more.
A little different now. How has technology allowed it to be um, easier for you?
We are about to start using AI to write our pitches. So
Hey,
I'm like, listen, if I don't gotta write them, get somebody else to do it. Get AI to do it. I think that's been one thing, and then yeah, utilizing social media. Like I can literally, within reason, and I think people can use this practice too. if there are certain journalists, certain media outlets that I'm interested in, I may be able to find them on Twitter and reach out. So I think it has made it has put things more at your fingertips, I
Yeah,
guess. But some of that I love and hate at the same time.
got you. So we got a question for Whitney. She's asking, flyers, physical flyers, are they still effective?
Hey Whitney, okay, I'm going to say that most things are still effective. It's just about how we approach them. So
Mm.
I'm not mad at a flyer if it's creative. Or I love what did y'all see Black just did a campaign here in Atlanta for his new album?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
So it wasn't flyers that he did, but if you guys have ever been to Atlanta, there's boys who like are literally kids who are literally on the corner doing water, like selling water, so on and so forth. So what he did was he flipped the water boys and turned them into flower boys to promote his album. So no, they weren't handing out flyers, but they were handing out roses to women in their car saying, "Hey, Mr. Valentine coming soon, new single dropping," so on and so forth. So not flyers, but man on the street type street team
Yeah,
opportunities can
yeah,
certainly be effective if they're done well. And he did it on like Valentine's Day. His last name is Valentine. It was so dope.
yeah.
It was so
No,
dope.
that's pretty fire. That's a really good idea.
Yeah,
And he's touching the streets, like the ground level, because those kids is there.
exactly.
People, yeah. That
And
I can.
typically they get bad publicity. So typically people
Yeah,
like in Baltimore, we have something called the squeegee boys. Squeegee boys will wipe your window, so on and so forth, and they don't get the best rep. So same thing here. Water boys don't get the best rep, and literally he gave them a little bit of visibility for this campaign too. So yeah, guerrilla marketing, yeah, all of it still effective to me.
yeah. I would agree. So adding in that other element, to your point, I think if a client is not taking advantage of, like you said, right, creating content, right? So that kind of gives you the opportunity to play offense and defense, right? Whereas if you're getting picked up, by, other outlets, or if you're going on pods, right? If you're going on stages, that's cool. But you can compound the effect,
Mhm.
or increase your searchability and findability when you start having your own content in there as well, right? So if I'm Googling, Ray the publicist, and she's over here and here and here, and then I'm like, oh, she got the YouTube. Let me, what I'm saying? Oh, she got the TikTok going crazy. It's like, so it's like now you're able to be almost like symbiotic with your content,
Yep.
doing all these places where it could be earned, now it's owned,
Yep.
and the other element, which is the paid.
Yep.
Yeah,
And to share it, right? Because now even with me being on your podcast, my audience is becoming yours and vice versa. So it's like, those people are now listening to you, learning about you. Your
yeah,
people are now listening to me, learning about me. So I think those things are important because you never know who might now even say, yo, I got a cool opportunity for him, I want to become a client, and vice versa.
yeah.
So I think we can never knock down those opportunities either, because you never know what's going to come from it.
Okay, so client gets signed up. They're like, what's the most expensive opportunity that I can tap into that's gonna give me the biggest visibility, and I'm ready to drop some change.
Okay. So I think it's going to depend, right? Because
Yeah,
I want to hear your story and I want to see what you're already working on because PR is partnership. I
yeah,
think people will say, oh, let me just throw some money at it and then I don't do the work, right? Or they don't do the work to give me what I need in order for it to be successful. So it varies. I think if you're talking agency side, um, that could be as medium 10K to 15 to 5, right?
mm,
If you're talking agency side, if you're talking solo practitioner, I've heard some people start at 2,500 to 1,500. I think it just depends on who you're looking for to like help you execute your PR strategy.
yeah. I would agree with you too, and I would say it's worth it, right? Especially if you can quantify that paid and turn that paid into not only, maybe you got, your call to action is product and service on the back end, but if you have a way to kind of funnel those new, those new eyes into captured data, and now
Yep.
you can engage them, through your own ecosystem, through email, text message, or whatever. I
You
think,
got to run that back, what you just said about having your stuff set up on the back end, because
yeah,
people will be like, well, what's the ROI? Well, make
yeah,
sure set up? Do
Yeah.
you able to track this? Like those things matter.
No, they super matter, and I think there's nothing wrong with getting in front of people and getting that publicity, but to be able to really capitalize on it by having those call to actions on the inside, like included, I think now you're really cooking because
Yeah.
with it being online, it's evergreen, it's searchable. So you
Yep.
might have somebody that might be searching for you 6, 7, 8 months from now, and they're gonna pick up an article or watch a video or check out you on a pod, and they're gonna run into a potential call to action, and that call to action may allow them to not only search further for you, but then you can grab that data and then you can put them in, an email sequence, text sequence.
Sure.
They can get access to like a free training or something. Maybe your Facebook group is going off, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
So I think having both of those is great when you start to really use them together.
Yeah, like I had a client who at one point just kept asking me about like the Breakfast Club, right? So my pushback was, what are we doing right now in order to be there? And then once you're there, what are you creating tangible for those listeners?
Yeah,
The answer is nothing. Why are we going?
yeah, facts.
Yeah.
See, I mean, you're doing that's what that's the pushback you should be giving. You doing listen, people. This is who you want.
I
You
try.
want someone like Ray that's going to challenge you and make sure that you showing up, as you should be showing up with everything that you need to have, so you can take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was thinking about when you had mentioned black, like there has been some very interesting campaigns for people to get attention. Have you been a part of any interesting ones, or have you been inspired by any ones that you've even experienced? You're like, oh, that's cool. That's definitely something that got my attention.
Yeah, for me, anything mission driven, right? Like I got
Mm,
my start in entertainment, and that world was cool. Got to have a lot of fun, so on and so forth. To me, though, I pivoted, right, and anything more so mission driven and impactful. Not saying that world cannot be that, but for me, it was thinking about Reagan at 22 and 23, so on and so forth. One of our clients nationally was the United Negro College Fund. So what we got to do is we got a chance to like really work with their high profile events and like their mayor's mask balls, and do some campaigns high profile, and just kind of help tell that story. That was important to me because I remember being 18, 19, sitting in my HBCU wanting to learn, so on and so forth. Yeah, those campaigns are more important to me than like anything else that I've done.
okay, got you. You want to play a game real quick?
Let's do it.
This game is just gonna be, yeah, just a yes or no. If you would approve these promo strategies,
Okay. All right.
all right, yes or no. If you approve these promo strategies, okay. Bus Depot.
No. What I need more. I
No,
need.
no, no, no. Just a bus, like a bus depot. You drive past a bus depot, people sitting there waiting for the bus, and you got an advertisement right there.
Oh yeah. I would approve that.
Okay, all right. Trash can, public trash cans.
People see it, so sure. But people throw stuff away, so no.
Okay. Um, wearing a T-shirt that has my YouTube or my phone number on it.
Yeah, yeah, and maybe not no phone number. We're going to edit the T-shirt a little bit, but sure.
Okay, okay. So you mentioned the Water Boys and the Squeezy Boys, but what about if you dress the homeless in like a promo attire or something?
So this still yes or no?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna say no, and I'm gonna only say no because I I would want that to be authentic to that specific group, and wouldn't want them to come across as like a hey, look at me sort of thing.
Flash mob.
That's a throwback, sure.
Blimp.
Well, what's blue?
Yeah, like a good year blimp.
Oh, like the Goodyear blimp, the Goodyear
Yeah,
blimp.
yeah, like
Yeah,
a blimp.
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay. An argument at a party that ends up being just a promo.
No, because black people, you never know what that's about to be. No thanks.
Okay, rap in your car.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Um, spending a ticket on like a expensive car for the weekend.
it's luxury if you provide a luxury service. Sure.
Okay, awesome. And then damn, I had a really good one. I just lost my train of thought. Um, okay, we'll come back to this one. It was a good one. So I mean, those are what you're pretty much improving.
Yeah, because I think again, like I said, there's so many different ways where you can get
Yeah,
your message out, right? So like, okay, I might not ride the bus, but someone who does might ride the bus and utilize your services. Like, cool. Blimps, sure. People see those. I'm sitting at the beach, I see a blimp. With the Imperfect Action Show, I might
yeah,
want to, tap in. So I think it just really depends. Yeah, it just
yeah.
depends.
No, those are good. Those are good. So if someone is interested in working with Ray, learning more about how tapping into communication strategy would be good for their business or for their personal brand, how would they be able to do that?
Yeah, I'm Rada Publicist on all social media channels. That's right there on this little lower third. And my website, reganfarley.com. Super
You can
easy.
drop that in the hold on. So is boom. Okay, boom. So Instagram's right there. And then what was the YouTube? I mean, what was the website again?
reganfarley.com.
Okay, reaganfarley.com.
Yep.
All right. So what is one or two ways that you have taken imperfect action to grow in your career?
I think that if you're not learning, you're not growing, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta learn from our mistakes. I think that's like extremely important. But sometimes we gotta learn from setbacks too. So I think that every single setback that I've had a chance to learn from that, um, and kind of share that information with someone else. I think that you're more impactful, more successful when you give stuff away. So certainly always making sure that I can send a letter back down to someone else, to the next Reagan Farley or the next
Mm.
whoever, to say like, hey, um, it's cool. Like let's take a few moments to just learn about your career. Let's take some time to see how I can help you or be a resource. So I think those elements of imperfect action have helped me navigate my career.
I would agree. I mean, you and I just getting to know each other right now, but just those gems overall, I think those are extremely impactful, right? Learning from the setbacks, because I feel like if you don't learn from them, they may continue to happen, or they may show up in a different way to give you the same lesson that you may not pick up on. And then if you're not learning, you're growing, right? So that's one of my favorite things to do is just learn, read, take a program,
Yeah.
mentorship, jump on YouTube. What watch movies that may have a lesson. Like yesterday, I was looking for um, the Defiant one because I kept getting people referring me to wanting to check it out about Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre, like their whole story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. It's like I get so excited, like
Yeah.
like Ray just told me something. Let me go look that up.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just joined an executive like book club, right? So
Mm,
literally a bunch of like PR and marketing executives, someone tweeted it out and was like, hey, if y'all want to join this book club, book swap. So every single month we'll be sharing books with each other. And it's executives from everywhere. And sometimes not that I get in my head, but I'm like, man, like these are different types of, one, money conversations, but then two, different types of thought processes.
yeah,
So little old me, like, how we doing this? How we navigating? What am I sending to the CEO or the marketing, the CMO of Edelman, right, or somewhere like that? But yeah, I think those things are important because one, you're feeding your spirit, and then two, like, what are you digesting, like music wise, right? Like, I listen to a lot of like inspirational, influential rappers, so on and so forth, just
yeah,
because I want to be bigger than like what I'm even talking about like right now.
yeah. I would agree. So listen. I just want to let you know I'm grateful, and thankful for you to create the space for us to join us on the show today. Thanks for sharing everything that you have shared. I want you guys to make sure that you check Ray out. It's at Ray the Publicist, or go to her website. Reagan Farley. I'm going to put it right there, ReaganFarley.com. Listen, if you need this communication strategy, if you want to help her craft your story, if you want more information how you can show up better, to get in front of more people, your ideal people, make sure that you tap in. You have anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that's it. Like, remember, done is better than perfect. So you gotta keep going. You gotta keep going.
100%. My name is Brendan. That's Ray. Another episode of Imperfect Action Show, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you for having me.